hope yesterday you were able to explore and kind of get to know proportions and a real world level with our ginger ale and juice example. Today we're beginning our new objectives, and today's objective is that you will be able to calculate and explain a unit rate. So go ahead and write that in your spiral notebook or your 3-ring binder, or if you've printed out today's presentation, you can just hold tight until we start taking notes. Now, to understand today's objective, we also have to understand what a unit rate is. A unit rate is a ratio that compares a quantity to one unit of another quantity. So there are all kinds of different ratios, but a unit rate is a really important and special one in that the denominator is always 1. So some real world examples, a speed limit is 65 miles per hour, 65 miles per 1 hour. That's how fast you can drive on 81, for example. Or if you were to go to a grocery store and bought apples, right? Sometimes we have unit rates that tell us how much something costs per whatever unit. So apples that cost 79 cents per pound. So every pound that you buy is worth 79 cents. Those are some real world examples of unit rates. And today what we're going to do, you're going to be able to calculate and explain what those are. So let's take a look at my examples. If you're writing your own, go ahead and copy down number 1, 175 students in 5 classes. All right, so when I am creating unit rates and trying to figure out or express each rate as a unit rate, the first thing that I do is that I actually create like a key so that I understand where each of my numbers go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write a key that tells me that students is going to go over classes. Okay. So if that's the case, then I am now going to create a ratio where I have 175 over 5. Right? And when I have 175, to get a unit rate, I have to be able, right, to say that this is equal to something over 1. So to get my denominator to 1, I have to divide both 5 and 175 by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 175 divided by 5 is 35. So the unit rate here is 35 over 1. But see, in a unit rate, that 35 over 1 means something special. It's 35 students in one class. Okay, so to get the unit rate, we take the denominator and we try to convert it into, so that the denominator is 1. So we divide 5 by 5, and that equals 1. And then we divide 175 by 5, which is equal to 35. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create my key. It's 3,000 marbles in 20 jars. So I'm going to write marbles over jars. Well, if that's the case, then I have 3,000 over 20. Now to get a denominator of 1, I have to divide 20 by 20 and 3,000 by 20. So then 3,000 divided by 20 is 15. 20 divided by 20 is 1. So my unit rate is 15 over 1. But this is a unit rate, so I have to understand what that 15 means. So it's 15 marbles oops, 15 marbles over 1 jar. There we go. Let's take a look at another example. Go ahead and copy down number 1. It says 3½ cups of sugar in 5 1/4 cups of lemonade. Okay. Now this is where you're going to have to use your calculator, and it's perfectly fine to use your calculator. You can use the Desmos calculator on your iPad or your own handheld. So again, I need to create a key for what I am talking about. And we're talking about sugar over lemonade. Well, here we have 3 1/2 over 5 1/4. So in order to get 1 as my denominator, I have to divide 3½ and 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So 5 1/4 divided by 5 1/4 is of course 1. And 3½ divided by 5 1/4 is equal to 2/3. So we get 2/3 over 1. So that looks kind of funny. And what that's telling me is that 2/3 cups of sugar are in 1 cup of lemonade. All right, go ahead and copy number 2 down. It says Ben walked for 8½ minutes and covered 3/4 of a mile. I'm first going to create my key. And this is really important, something that we've got to remember and we'll practice more of in the future. And that's this, that when we write things in speed, we've got to keep in mind like our speed limit on our highways, right? It's always distance over time. So that's why it's miles over hours. In this case, right, it's going to be distance, which is 3/4, divided by 8 1. Nope. Force over 8. Oops. There we go. So now, because I'm going to divide 8 1/2 by 8 1/2, so I get 1 in my denominator, I have to do that on the numerator as well. When I do that, 3/4 divided by 8 1/2 is 3/34. And that's going to be over 1. So that's telling me that Ben is going to walk 3/34 mile in 1 minute. All right, let's take a look at 3 more examples. Now here we have the most famous unit rates, and the most famous unit rates have to do with money. So let's look at this first one. Go ahead and write this down. 6 feet of ribbon for $19.20. When I have unit rates with money, kind of like with speed, all of them look the same way. And we always put the money over the quantity. So in this example, we're going to have $19.20 over 6. Then I put that in my calculator. I divide $19.20 by 6, and I get $3.20. And what that's telling me is that it is $3.20 for 1 foot of ribbon. Let's take a look at this example. We have somebody has earned $63.21 for 7 hours of work. Well, if we do that, that means we're putting money over quantity. We're going to put $63.21 over 7. And when I divide those out, I get $9.03. And that's telling me that I earn $9.03 per hour. Oops, not her. The last thing that we've got is this case where we're going to figure out which one is the better value. I have option A, which is $9.95 for 30 ounces of coffee, or option B, which is $3.50 for 12 ounces of coffee. Okay, so I'm going to insert my equation here. Of course, you're going to write your equation, but I'm working in PowerPoint. So I've got money over quantity, so I'm going to write $9.95 over 30 ounces. I'm going to divide those. You can hear me opening up my calculator. We've got $9.95 divided by 30, and we get 0.33, and I'm going to round to the thousandth place. So that's going to be 0.332 over 1. Which is telling me that this is a little bit more than 33 cents for 1 ounce of coffee. Okay, so that's option A. Now on option B, we might have, now we've got to figure out if option B is a better option. So I'm going to enter my equation again. And here, in this case, I have $3.50 divided by 12 ounces. So when I put that in the calculator, $3.50 divided by 12, I get 0.293 2/1 ounce. So in option B, the coffee is a little bit more than 29 cents an ounce. So if I'm looking at which one, I have to decide which one is the better value. Which one do I have to pay less for the same amount? And in that case, the answer here is option A. If I pay $9.95 for 30 ounces, I'm going to pay less per ounce. That's not right. Let's try that again. So the answer here is option B because, right, option B is 29 cents per ounce. I'm paying less for option B than I would for option A. All right, so now I'm going to switch the screen and we're going to look at these three questions. These three questions are asking us which to figure out the unit rate here, and then to figure out which is the better value in 2 and 3. Okay, so take a second, calculate the unit rates for each of these, and we'll be back on in a second. Okay, so number one says, Angela read 7 books in 2 weeks. Find her reading speed in books per day. Now this is tricky because our unit rate is per day, not per week. So you have to be really careful. So that's why I set up my key. It's books over days. Angela read 7 books, but it says 7 books in 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks means 14 days. So when I set up my unit rate, I have to have 7 over 14. I divide 14 by 14 to get it to 1 day and 7 by 14 to get 1/2. So my unit rate is 1/2 book per day. Then the next one has a comparison of 2 different kinds of packages of walnuts. So we have $3.20 for 16 ounces of walnuts or $2.30 for 10 ounces of walnuts. So when I set up my unit rate, I have $3.20 over 16 and $2.30 over 10. And I divide those out, and option A, or 1, turns out to be the better value because you're only paying 20 cents for an ounce of walnuts. And then this example, when I created it last night, I was a little hungry. So I looked up current prices and weights of 2 different restaurants' hamburgers. So at Burger King, the Whopper weighs 9.5 ounces with bun and all of the toppings, and it's $5.19. The Big Mac is 7.6 ounces and costs $5.29. I want to know which one is the better value according to the weight of the burger, right? So I divide $5.19 by 9.5, and the value of a Whopper is a little bit more than 54 cents per ounce. The Big Mac, I set up $5.29 over 7.6, and it is worth a little more than 69 cents an ounce. So which is the better value? In this case, you get more ounces for, or you get this, you have to pay less for 1 ounce for a Whopper than you do for a Big Mac. Okay, that ends today's lesson. Today, you're going to go back and complete the exit ticket for today, which is on unit rates. And we will be doing an extended example tomorrow for Wednesday, just on unit rates, no new lesson tomorrow. So submit your exit ticket after you really understand. So if that means going back and rewatching and recalculating, going back and making sure that your notes are correct, complete your exit ticket, and I'll see you all on Thursday.